This is Judge James. Welcome to my courtroom.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge.
James Ian Bank.
The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge
James.
Hello and welcome to our case today. Here we have Lewis Robertson and Anthony Lawson. Today we're discussing the case of Anthony being accused of painting Lewis's bike. Lewis, the plaintiff, will hear from you first.
Well, I just thought it was a ridiculous thing for him to do. I loved the colour of that bike, a nice pale green colour. It stood out in the crowd. You could leave it anywhere and know exactly where your bike is. I don't have much more to say. He painted it a terrible brown, just a very bad brown colour.
Yeah. What was the original colour?
A pale green.
Pale green. Why is the bike important?
It lets me do my job. I'm a delivery driver, you see, and that is my main source of transport for doing that job.
And you still commute on a regular little old bike?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you had the bike?
I'd say about 3.5 years now. And it's never
3.5
done
years.
anything, never had any problems or anything.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess we'll be back to hear Mr. Lawson's side after the break.
I had a good job until my boss accused me of stealing. I better call Saul.
I was out partying, minding my own business.
You are under arrest.
I'd better call Saul.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe that until proven guilty, every man, woman, and child in this country is innocent. And that's why I fight for you, Albuquerque.
Better call Saul. Saul Goodman, attorney at law, 505-164 CALL, 505-164 CALL. Serious when you.
I am Speed. Play as your favorite characters as you explore the world of Radiator Springs. Meet the locals or race in the Piston Cup on your own or with friends. Disney Pixar's Cars, the video game, out now.
Bottoms up, son.
Ladies, can you tell me where I can park my bike?
Crack on.
Welcome back to my court. Today, just to give a little recap, we have Anthony, the defendant, being accused of painting Lewis's, the defendant's, bike. The bike was originally a pale green colour, but now Anthony, Lewis, has accused him of painting it a disgusting brown. This bike was owned by Lewis for 3.5 years, and it's a bike. Now, Anthony.
Yes.
I want you to give your side of the story. Where were you at the specific date and time of the offence on the
22nd
First
of
of
February.
February?
22nd of February.
22nd of February.
Well, I am a community college lecturer. I am the head of an arts community, and I was the head of a class that day, and we paint public things that are available to the public in a community space, and we paint things. And several of my students painted the bike. They didn't break the bike, but they didn't do any damage to it, but they painted it a different colour, but it was out in the street, and he didn't put his lock on it. And I'm saddened to hear that he wasn't happy with it, and none of the students meant any harm when they did it. But I don't know what to say really. It was left out and about. It didn't have a name on it. It was just out in the street, and some of my students painted the bike. And to be honest, it is a brown colour, but they did a pretty good job of it. And it's for, you know, it was for free. Didn't cost anything, and they're artists, so I believe they did a fairly good job. And I'm sorry if that is a problem, but we didn't do any damage to it, so I don't see what the problem is.
Well, I beg to differ.
Judge James. Right. So I'll ask you these couple of questions, Anthony, now. Do you feel guilty about painting it?
Me personally, I feel sorry for some of the students that have done that, that this has happened, and we didn't mean any ill intent.
You feel sorry that the plaintiff has made you go through with all this?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's terrible. They're just students. Anyway, I'm
That
getting
is
sidetracked.
no excuse. Damages
Order in my court.
property.
Order. Thank you. Why were the students doing it again? Can you just remind me?
It's a part of a scheme where they have to use their imagination and spruce up some of the degraded environment areas out in the public that are really needing some life and imagination breathed into them.
I can think maybe why you'd think a 3.5-year-old scabby pale green bike would maybe need a new coat of paint, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
I have to say, this is not
Order in the
professional.
court! Order in the court. Thank you. Anthony, I'll let you continue.
It was just a part of a scheme where everybody is there to use their imagination and come up with cool, new, innovative ideas. And it was in a pretty barren area, and it was just out in the street, and they decided to use their imaginations cost-free. And I think, unfortunately, it's just one of those cases. The person who owned that bike, or who claims to own that bike, was saddened by it, but he didn't have a padlock on it. It was left out in the street, so there's not much we could have done. It could have been anything. It could have been anyone's. It could have been just lying there just to go into the skip, for all we knew, for all they knew.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Now, did you guys have a relationship before this?
Not to my knowledge, no. But it's come to my attention, we obviously do, as he's pursued this case.
Do you have a relationship with him?
He was my lecturer at college.
Oh.
He was the one that told me to paint my bike pale green. And then he's had his students paint it a disgusting brown. What kind of art students find art in the worst colour there is? Why can't they paint a dragon or a...
Okay. Now, let's not bring the students into this, okay? They're just trying their best to live their lives, and I don't think they quite deserve that. Do you?
I was talking more about
No. I'll ask the question again. Do you think the students deserve that sort of abuse from you?
The students, I'm not saying anything about students.
You
I'm
just
saying
said.
about his guidance of the students. Him having them go out and paint other people's property.
Do you know when I bang this? I bang this when I'm angry, okay? And when you're not answering my questions, I just need a yes or no answer. Do you feel like your abuse of the students is too much? Okay. Now, this is getting pretty serious here. This is a bit out of my range, but let me recap again. On the evening, in the morning, what time is it?
I'd say roughly 20 past 1 in the afternoon.
Okay. 20 past 1 on the 21st of February. 22nd of February?
22nd.
22nd of February. Lewis's bike, pale green, was painted brown, accusedly. Have we got a picture of the bike right now?
Not on me, no.
Is the bike here in the courtroom?
I can't see it anywhere, no.
Then the flip! I need cold, hard evidence.
Well, it's parked outside. Would you like me to go and get it, or would that add too much time to this
No.
proceeding?
It's too late now. You've wasted enough of my time. Now it's time to waste yours. Anthony, how are you today?
I am all seemingly disturbed.
That's fair. Do you admit that your students painted the bike?
I admit they did, absolutely, and I also admit
Well,
Lewis is one of my ex-students.
okay, Anthony, let me give you a little bit of help here.
Yeah.
You're being charged with doing this. over a small claims. You're going to have to pay him this. If it was, or your students are going to have to come in. You're representing your students right now. But you don't have to say that it was your students, you know. You could have just said it was somebody else. So, did your students paint the bike?
They did. But I will take full responsibility.
Anthony, I'm trying to help you out here.
Yeah.
Because he's being a little rude right now. You don't have to say that it was your students.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Did your students paint that bike?
No.
Ah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. We've got an interesting case here, folks. Now, Anthony's claiming that his students didn't paint the bike. That's pretty weird. But Lewis is. And with no cold hard evidence, I feel like
I caught them in the act of doing it. That's why there's an unfinished mark underneath the shaft of the bike.
once again, Lewis, I'm gonna need to see the bike. Have you got a photo on your phone, maybe? Maybe you do.
Check.
All right. Meanwhile, I'll have a nice conversation with Anthony. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Is this
Here.
getting a little bit too much for you?
Here is the photo of the bike. See the unfinished mark underneath there? Right there.
Oh my God, you're right. Anthony, there's a. It's been painted.
Well, we know it's been painted.
And it's not even like the correct right type of paint. It's normal oil-based paint.
They're
Are they first years?
They're first years.
Okay.
And they're learning like Lewis did when he was on the course.
That's fair.
He flunked me.
So you didn't even pass the course?
He threw me out. I put a bit of paper mache on someone's hand, and he threw me out.
He was confrontational like he is now.
I can see that, Anthony. Shame on you, man. Shame on you. You couldn't even go through first year. You couldn't even do that.
Well, what can you do when you've got a lecturer like him that lets his students paint on other people's property?
Other people's what now?
Property.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Now, I think we've rambled on long enough, especially some people. Now, I don't see much evidence in this case. This is a really difficult one, folks.
What do you mean you have no evidence? I showed you a
It's
picture.
it's hearsay.
Anthony, come on there. You're right, it's hearsay. However, something has happened to that bike. And now, yeah. My verdict. Anthony, Lewis.
Yes.
Today, in this courtroom, I'm going to rule in favor of Lewis.
Get up, you.
I feel that somebody has definitely painted that bike. If you want to come back and maybe fight that case, Anthony.
I might appeal.
Yeah, appeal the case. With your students, you can come back here to Judge James. Plug.
Thank you.
Now, I hope you guys are quite happy, but you owe him £3,500?
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for coming along to Judge James. We'll see you next time.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge
James Ian Bank.
The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge
James.